Alright, let's dive into the latest buzz coming out of Warriors territory, where things have finally started to heat up after a long stretch of quiet. For a while, the free agency period was pretty calm with no major moves or signings that really shook the landscape. But now all eyes are on Jonathan Kuminga, whose situation is stirring up some serious speculation. The Warriors have been holding steady, waiting for him to accept a qualifying offer, something around $7.9 million, but as it stands, Kuminga hasn't taken it yet. This opens the door for potential trades, and believe me, several teams are circling, intrigued by the possibility of acquiring this promising young talent. What's fascinating is how this all started to unfold just recently, with new reports suggesting that teams like the Wizards, Bucks, Bulls, and Nets have shown varying degrees of interest in Kuminga. It's clear that the Warriors might be ready to shake things up, trying to leverage his value to strengthen their roster. This isn't just idle talk either. The Warriors seem determined to finally bring some fireworks to their free agency moves after such a quiet stretch. It's almost like the calm before the storm, and fans are eager to see what comes next. Now, if we break it down team by team, it starts to get really interesting. Take the Miami Heat, for example. They have a solid core with players like Butler and Wiggins. Rumors have been swirling that Wiggins might return to the Bay Area, which would certainly add some firepower. But here's the catch: Wiggins isn't exactly a young up-and-comer anymore. He's more of a winnow piece. That means the Warriors can't really count on him fitting into a long-term rebuild or future-oriented strategy. Plus, the Heat's key players like Bam Adebayo, Tyler Herro, and Devin Vassell seem locked in and unlikely to be traded, especially considering their value and current contracts. Looking deeper into Miami's roster, someone like Nikola Jovic might catch the Warriors' eye. He's a young player just over 6'10" who's shown flashes of potential. In his brief time in the league, he's demonstrated decent shooting ability from beyond the arc and has shown some consistency. His profile as a forward who can stretch the floor fits the kind of player the Warriors typically like to have: versatile wings who can contribute on both ends of the floor. If the Warriors are considering a trade involving Kuminga, Jovic could be a smart target, especially if it comes with a valuable first-round pick. But of course, Miami isn't likely to give up their prime picks lightly, especially if they're aiming to stay competitive in the Eastern Conference. Speaking of picks, Miami's draft assets could be another major factor. They own their own first-round picks for the next few years, and while the team is expected to be a strong playoff contender, they might consider moving a mid to late first-rounder in a deal. However, that pick wouldn't come cheap, and the Warriors will have to weigh whether the cost is worth the potential return. The Heat have been building a solid squad, and unless they are truly shifting to a rebuild mode, their draft picks will remain highly valuable. Switching gears to the Milwaukee Bucks, the picture changes a bit. The Bucks have a more veteran-heavy roster with fewer young assets that the Warriors would covet. Players like Kevin Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr., and Kyle Kuzma are some of the younger names on the team, but none of them are exactly franchise cornerstones. Kuzma, for example, has been consistent as a scorer and shooter, but isn't quite the high upside talent the Warriors would likely want to build around. Porter Jr. has promise, but has had an up-and-down career so far, and Trent Jr. is solid, but not a game-changer. The Bucks are also loaded with future draft picks extending well into the late 20s. While these picks could be tempting for the Warriors to consider, especially if Milwaukee is planning for a long-term rebuild or transition away from their current core, they don't help much in the short term. Milwaukee is projected to remain a top team in the East for the foreseeable future, which makes them a tricky trade partner. If the Warriors are looking to win now, the Bucks' willingness to part with high-value assets in the near term seems limited, given their competitive window alongside Giannis Antetokounmpo. Over to the Washington Wizards, the story is a bit different. They've been moving away from their young talent, and with Jordan Poole now with the Pelicans, their roster lacks some of the young stars that might be appealing. One player who could be interesting is their recent high draft pick at center, who showed flashes but also had an inconsistent rookie year. His size and potential to play alongside a defender like Draymond Green could be a tactical asset for the Warriors. However, the Wizards seem committed to keeping him, and their rebuild approach might not align with the Warriors' timeline. Marcus Smart, known for his defensive tenacity and leadership, is another name that pops up when discussing potential trade targets, but at his current age and contract, he wouldn't fit the young player plus first-round pick formula Warriors are looking for. The Wizards have plenty of draft capital, though, and their picks could become valuable trade chips if the team remains in rebuild mode and finishes outside the playoff spots. Looking at the Chicago Bulls, the Bulls roster includes a couple Of names who might intrigue the Warriors, Josh Giddey and Kobe White have shown promise, with Giddey especially demonstrating the ability to impact games both as a scorer and a facilitator. Giddey's free agent status and final contract year make him a feasible target, especially if the Bulls are looking to move on from him. White, a solid guard with good defensive skills and scoring ability, is another candidate who could fit the Warriors mold. He's still young and has shown he can put up points consistently, though his style would require some adjustment in a system led by Stephen Curry. The Bulls also hold some valuable draft picks that could entice the Warriors. If Chicago struggles next season, those picks could be high lottery selections, providing the Warriors with long-term assets in addition to any player acquisitions. The question remains whether the Bulls are willing to part with such assets in a trade for Kuminga. Finally, the Brooklyn Nets present an intriguing case. The Nets are deep into a rebuild phase and have a mix of young players and draft picks. Michael Porter Jr., while talented, doesn't fit perfectly into a defensive-oriented lineup the Warriors typically prioritize, especially with his injury history. Nick Claxton, a strong traditional center who provides defense and rebounding, would be a valuable asset, but it's unlikely the Nets would let him go. Given his prime years ahead and importance to their future plans, the Nets' abundance of draft picks could offer opportunities, but again, timing and team strategies matter. If Brooklyn struggles next year, their picks could be quite valuable, making a trade package enticing for Golden State. However, it appears the trend is leaning toward a sign-and trade scenario with Kuminga rather than a simple qualifying offer acceptance or outright signing. As this all plays out, it will be fascinating to see how the Warriors maneuver through these options, balancing their desire to win now with the need to build a sustainable future. The trade market is complicated, with each team's priorities and timelines affecting what deals might be feasible. The Warriors seem poised to make a move soon, and the basketball world is watching closely. Let me know what you think about potential trade targets or players who might fit into this mix. The offseason is shaping up to be an exciting one for Warriors fans. Absolutely. Let's continue exploring the unfolding story surrounding Jonathan Kuminga and the Golden State Warriors' ongoing efforts to shake up their roster. In this busy free agency period, the depth charts and trade possibilities we discussed earlier give us a solid foundation to speculate on what could happen next, but there's more beneath the surface when considering the Warriors' strategic approach and the bigger picture of the NBA landscape. One important aspect to keep in mind is how the Warriors have traditionally built their success through a mix of star power, smart role players, and a deep bench that complements their style. Kuminga represents a vital piece of their future, a versatile wing with upside athleticism and defensive potential. Yet the Warriors are also aware that to remain competitive, especially in the Western Conference, with powerhouse teams like the Lakers, Nuggets, and Suns, they need to ensure their roster balances experience and youth. This explains why the interest in trading Kuminga isn't just about moving a player. It's about acquiring the right pieces that fit their championship timeline, while also securing draft capital for long-term stability. In this context, let's analyze the impact of potentially acquiring some of the players mentioned earlier and how they might mesh with Golden State's system. Take someone like Nikola Jovic from the Miami Heat. His ability to stretch the floor with three-point shooting could fit well with the Warriors' patient-based offense. However, he's still relatively unproven and inconsistent, which means the Warriors would be taking a calculated risk banking on his development. This risk, balanced against the reward of his skill set and a possible first-round pick, could be attractive if the Warriors are confident in their player development staff and system. Meanwhile, the potential return of Andrew Wiggins, who has proven to be a reliable wing defender and secondary scorer for Golden State in the past, adds another layer to the decision-making process. While Wiggins isn't a promising young player in the same sense as Kuminga, his familiarity with the Warriors' system and ability to contribute immediately make him a valuable asset for a team in win-o mode. His potential involvement in trade talks highlights the Warriors' dual strategy, weighing future potential against immediate impact. Moving on to the Milwaukee Bucks, the discussion around their assets centers largely on their future draft picks. Golden State may find some value in leveraging these picks for a longer-term rebuild or as trade assets for further moves. However, the Bucks' core around Giannis Antetokounmpo suggests they're not quite ready to part with significant players or premium picks for short-term upgrades. The Warriors would have to navigate this carefully if they want to strike a deal that benefits both teams, especially since Milwaukee's roster is less flush with young high-upside talent that Golden State might covet. Washington Wizards' young players and draft picks offer another intriguing possibility. but the uncertainty around the Wizards' direction makes it a bit murky. Their roster has seen significant turnover, and while they hold some draft capital, the Warriors would need to assess whether the players and picks available align with their system and competitive goals. The Wizards' recent acquisition of veterans and focus on rebuilding through the draft suggest that any trade involving Kuminga would likely require a significant haul in return. Looking toward Chicago, players like Josh Giddey and Kobe White could provide the Warriors with much-needed versatility and scoring options. Giddey's playmaking ability as a guard could complement Stephen Curry nicely, creating multiple ball handlers and enhancing offensive fluidity. White's tenacity and defense would bolster the Warriors' perimeter defense, a critical component of their success. Moreover, Chicago's draft picks could provide the Warriors with valuable long-term assets, potentially helping balance the trade's value. The Brooklyn Nets situation remains one of the most complex. Despite being in a rebuilding phase, the Nets have core players and young talent that could fit into the Warriors' plans, but their retention of key players like Nick Claxton signals they might not be eager to part with foundational pieces. Their wealth of draft picks, however, could be a bargaining chip to make a trade work. If the Warriors can secure multiple picks along with a young player, it could align well with their dual goals of staying competitive while preparing for the future. Throughout all these scenarios, the central theme is the Warriors' pursuit of balance. They need to maintain a competitive roster that can support their championship aspiration, while managing salary cap implications and ensuring the development of young talent. Trading Kuminga could accelerate that process if it nets the right mix of players and picks, but it's a high-stakes gamble. As the Warriors navigate this offseason, they must also consider the broader NBA market dynamics. Other teams are also looking to strengthen their lineups, and this creates a highly competitive environment for acquiring assets. Timing will be crucial. Moving too quickly might mean settling for less value, while waiting too long could lead to missed opportunities as other teams fill their needs. From a fan's perspective, this period is exhilarating, but also filled with uncertainty. The Warriors have built a strong culture and identity largely thanks to their core of Curry, Thompson, and Green. Integrating new players successfully into this mix requires both savvy front office decisions and a coaching staff capable of maximizing their potential. The trade talks and free agency moves over the next few weeks will reveal how Golden State plans to navigate the evolving landscape. It's also worth noting that the departure of Anthony Slater to ESPN might impact local coverage of the Warriors. Slater has been a trusted voice for Bay Area sports fans, providing in-depth analysis and breaking news. His move to a national platform might mean less day-to-day coverage focused on the Warriors, but it also signals his growing influence as a respected journalist. The Warriors fan base will have to adjust to this shift and possibly look toward other sources for their local insights. Overall, the picture emerging from all these developments suggests that the Warriors are actively exploring options to bolster their roster through strategic trades and sign-and trade deals involving Kuminga. The complexity of these negotiations reflects the intricate balance between competing in the present and planning for the future. The team's leadership is likely weighing all possible outcomes carefully, considering not only the talent exchange, but also the chemistry and financial flexibility that each move would bring. In the meantime, fans should stay tuned as the Warriors work to finalize their off-season plans. The excitement is palpable, and the potential for some impactful moves could redefine the team's trajectory for years to come. As always, it's a mix of hope, speculation, and the thrill of the unexpected that makes following the Warriors during this period so captivating. Whether Kuminga stays, is traded, or signs elsewhere, the ripple effects will be felt throughout the league and could shape the Warriors' path back to championship contention. The coming weeks promise to deliver plenty of drama, discussion, and ultimately clarity on the next chapter for Golden State basketball. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Whispers coming out of the Bay Area suggest that Golden State Warriors star Stephen Curry may have suffered an injury during a recent team practice, sparking immediate concerns among fans and analysts alike. While no official statement has been released by the team, multiple sources close to the organization have hinted at a potential setback involving the two-time MVP. According to these early murmurs, the incident occurred during a closed-door session at the Warriors training facility. Curry, known for his intense off-season regimen and high-energy workouts, reportedly came up limping after a routine play and was seen receiving attention from the team's medical staff. Shortly thereafter, eyewitnesses claim the atmosphere shifted. noticeably following the event with coaches and players visibly shaken by what they had seen. This wouldn't be the first time the Warriors have had to deal with untimely injuries to their star players, and any potential absence of Curry, even a short one, could have significant implications as the team prepares for a crucial season. Golden State is looking to bounce back from a disappointing playoff exit, and Curry remains the engine that drives the team's offense and leadership on and off the court. Still, it's important to note that details remain scarce and the Warriors have neither confirmed nor denied the reports. Some insiders suggest the move may be precautionary, with Curry being held out of further activity as a preventative measure. Others speculate it could be something more serious, perhaps requiring further medical evaluation. As the NBA offseason rolls on, all eyes will be on the Warriors camp for any official word. Until then, the buzz surrounding Curry's status continues to grow and fans are left holding their breath. One thing is certain: any news involving Stephen Curry, especially one as potentially significant as an injury, never goes unnoticed. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news, subscribe to our channel, and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.